You're completely helpless.
You're what the French call les incompétents.
You are such a disease.
There are 15 people in this house, and you're the only one who has to make trouble.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
I made my family disappear.
Hello there, I'm Hot Toddy, that's Miss Pengrino, that's a Christmas tree, and you know what that means? This is the Christmas episode of Get
Real.
And on this episode, I wish we had some good news for you. No, we're going to talk about Disney's fatal attempt at a Home Alone film because they can't help but cash in on franchises that they've bought. And we're going to talk about the new Disney Plus film. Was it again Home Balls?
Home Suck Balls Alone.
Suck My Home Alone. Oh no, it's Home Sweet Home Alone.
'Twas the night before Christmas vacation. And the fun was in full swing.
You have split our family onto two separate flights.
Mom!
Max, please!
The family left for their big vacation,
Is that everyone? The cars are leaving now!
but forgot one little thing.
Mom? Dad? Uncle Blake? They don't even know I'm here. They don't even know I'm here.
Miss Pengrino, I think I'm done with remakes and reboots.
Oh, so we don't have to talk
Everything.
about it.
No, we're going to talk about it, but
Which is that we were done.
I just don't know if I can do this anymore. I still want to see Ghostbusters Afterlife,
But that's a different premise.
but I don't know if I can do any more of these films that are basically the same thing, just with minor tweaks to make it just different enough to be called a new film.
Stop making dupes, man.
Dupes?
Duplicates.
Oh, so you're shortening words now.
Look, don't judge me. Judge this movie.
Let's just get right into it. What do you say about Homeboy, Home Alone? What can you say about it? What can be said? All right, that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning
Yep,
in. We'll see
have
you
a good
next
day.
time.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Okay, so let's talk about it. So this was Disney's fatal attempt at a Home Alone film. They own all the Home Alone movies
So is it
now.
really continued a reboot or is it continuation?
It's a little of both. It's what we like to call in the business a soft reboot. A soft reboot is when you basically continue a story, but we make it basically the same story. That term became popular in 2015 with both Jurassic World and Star Wars: The Force Awakens, when they're different movies. It is in the same universe and it's a continuing story, but it's basically almost beat for beat the original film.
Yeah, but those were good.
Those were good. The Force Awakens was a good film, but this was not. They tried and it failed. It's just as simple as that. But by the way, spoilers up ahead. This is.
Oh yeah. I mean,
we're
again,
talking
you probably won't watch it.
We're dismantling this thing bit by bit, piece by piece. But let's talk a little bit about it. The movie sucks. It's about a kid named Maxwell? Was that his name or no?
Maxwell Thurgood Mercer.
Oh, Mercer. That was his name. Max Mercer. Was it sure Thurgood?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maxwell Johann Mercer.
He's a little punk, just like Kevin was in the first film. He also has a family that is completely absent-minded because they're so busy getting ready to go on vacation, Christmas vacation in Tokyo. That's the difference in this film. They're going off to Tokyo, but they're all frazzled, and then they eventually go and they leave the kid behind. Home Alone!
Which, in this day and age, that doesn't make sense.
No, that was one of the unique things about the first two films, was that this took place during a time when you only had landlines.
Yeah.
You didn't have cell phones, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, emails. You didn't have these ways, or home devices that talk to you and Google's.
The other lady, who we won't say her name because she'll start talking.
We have one here. She doesn't stop with the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he even has one in this movie, and for some reason it doesn't call his mother.
Homebot, cool mum.
I'm sorry, voice calling is not available on this homebot device.
It's very...
it won't call his mom, will it?
It won't.
It literally says, I will not call her.
Yeah.
Because she's got no landline.
Because, and then they can't call Max from Tokyo because
they also have no
don't have a
landline.
landline and he doesn't have a cell phone because he's a kid. So everything is very convenient in this movie. They had to do that, otherwise everyone would be saying, how the hell can you do this in an era with the iPhone?
I would say, which is also not realistic because kids nowadays as young as like freaking 7 have phones.
Or they at least know how to use a computer or iPad.
Yeah.
And a kid, and this is yet another rich, very rich family. Like in the original film, like
excruciatingly.
In the last few years, we've done that whole thing of what did Kevin's dad do that made him have such a nice
Sold
house?
drugs.
Allegedly, but yeah, why? What did they do to have such a nice? So my thought process was this kid would have had to have had some sort of appliance that he could be able to talk to somebody on.
Yeah, if they have all like the home, I mean, so first off, this house was like 7 stories, no, 2 stories, but on
your typical
each,
3-story house, yeah.
But on each floor there was like 5 rooms, it felt like.
I mean, it was a big house.
So
just like the McAllister house.
And I mean, decked to the nines and like updated furniture and appliances and all. So there's no way that this kid did not have something.
Well, that's the idea. That's the assumption. But as it turns out, apparently he had nothing. So very convenient for the film in this day and age of hyper technology. This kid don't have any.
Total, we know where you are at all times thing. Also, this whole idea of not being able to, like, the kid not being on the flight.
Oh, like, because like again, in the first 2 films, they just ran through security. They ran through everything to get on the plane because this was a pre-9/11 era where you could just run into the airport, catch a plane, and nothing would happen. And that was the end of the story. In this day and age, you have a million security checkpoints. You have all this. You have time to stop and think and look and pay attention. There wasn't an airport scene in this film, if you remember.
No, there wasn't.
And on purpose probably that's the reason. Because the human brain can understand that the reason why... I lost my train of thought. The human brain can make sense of the fact that in this day and age, you're stopping a million times, and you know that the adults with all of those kids, they were making sure all the kids got through properly, all of that. And then they didn't notice the kid.
Because, so, you have ticket check-in, you have bag check-in, you have security check-in, which checks ID and ticket for every single person. It's not like one family member can have all the tickets like in the first 2. It's everybody has to have their own thing.
Now they do make a clarification in the film when the uncle gets to Tokyo, because the mom takes an early flight and then the rest of the family comes later.
You realize that my 10-year-old son is at home by himself. You just assumed Max was on the other flight.
We didn't take a census.
And then when the uncle gets there, the uncle is played by Pete Holmes. I want to point that out. I love Pete Holmes. He's a hilarious comedian. He deserved better than this film.
I mean, he was only in there for 2 seconds.
He was only in there for 2 seconds. I thought he was going to be in it for like most of it, but he was only in there for like literally 2 seconds.
Hashtag ill-judged.
He had literally 2 scenes through the whole film. That was it. That's all he had.
Yeah, and maybe 5 lines in each one.
It was weird. But anyway, so when he gets to Tokyo, he tells the mom, "Oh, I thought he came with you." And she's like, "Well, why would you think he came with me?" So there's a lack of communication on the family's part anyway.
True,
it's still their part. But again,
in today's TSA society, that would not happen.
And surveillance and phone operate. This would not happen in this day and age. That's my review of the film.
Shocker.
So that's how it works, and so that's fine. They managed to weave and wob around every single idea of how this would not happen in this era, and still found a way to make it happen in this era. So now we've discussed how he gets left at home. Before we move on, though, we have to mention our lovely Christmas attire. I'm wearing my The Room Tommy Wiseau "Oh Hi Santa" shirt.
Hi, Santa.
And
then your hat.
On my hat, I'm wearing the hat, the better hat, the hat with the better movie logo.
Okay, I was gonna say, what?
Well, it is a better hat. It's a better movie.
And I got lights.
Well, anyway, let's continue on with our next issue with this movie.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye.
Well, there's a lot of issues, but this one takes the cake. Why they felt okay? So I guess they did do something different in this film than the first two films.
Okay.
They made likable criminals.
Oh yeah.
Which by the way, they're not even criminals.
A dislikable child.
Yeah, exactly. The kid's a little jerk. At the beginning of the film, he gives Jeff, one of the criminals in the film, criminals. I'm going to put air quotes for these guys. He gives them some sass.
Lots of sass.
Well, first of all, how do they meet each other? There's a meet cute in this film.
Meet cute. Oh.
That means how
they meet. I got it. Get back in here. I missed your shirt.
Hashtag ill-judged.
The kid and his mom are driving home. The kid's like, I don't want to go because there's 30,000 people
But he has
in
to
the
pee.
house.
No, he has to pee. That's what he has to do.
Getting there.
Oh, okay.
Hashtag ill-judged.
And because he didn't want to go, he drank 30,000 sodas?
Something like that.
And so because he drank 30,000 sodas, his tiny 10-year-old bladder's got to go.
He's got to pee.
And they're in a neighborhood. They decide to go to this open house, pretend to buy a house so this kid can pee.
And lo and behold, that collision course with wackiness, that open house where they're trying to sell this home is this lovely couple. The guy's name's Jeff, and I don't remember what his wife's name is.
Mom, Ellie Kemper.
It's Ellie Kemper from The Office and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. That is who plays the mother of that family.
I forgot she was in The Office.
She was for a little while, but I don't remember what her name was. I don't think they ever said it. But anyway, they've fallen on some hard times. They have to sell their house, which is sad because they're a loving family. They love their kids. They want to do anything they can for their kids. They don't even tell their kids that they're selling because they don't want them to be sad.
Because really they're trying to think of anything they can do prior to selling the house to save the house.
Right.
Jeff lost his job.
And she's a teacher.
So there's no money.
They don't make any money.
So they're trying. It's just not happening.
And these are our criminals. These are our antagonists of the film. Is a heartwarming, a loving couple who love their families.
They played bells for the senior citizens.
They played bells for the although that was a bit of a ha-ha moment.
Yeah, that turned out real bad.
That was funny, though.
Don't blame her. That's you. Sorry. Shame on you.
But so they were a nice family, and then so the little shit kid Maximilian Schell, he comes in with his mom, he pees, and then he runs into Jeff, and they have some sass back and forth.
Yeah.
Where he is just basically insulting poor Jeff.
Wow, you're so tall. You almost look like Frankenstein.
I said poor Jeff.
Frankenstein.
I'll call him poor Jeff. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then Jeff pulls out a doll collection he got from his mom. Within the doll collection is a little messed up doll. It was an error.
Yeah, 100 of these got messed up. The head of the doll is the head is on right, but the face is upside down.
And apparently, as we find out later in the film, those are actually worth a ton of money. And he's like, "Oh, I've got one of those." And then he goes back and looks, and the doll is gone. So naturally, he thinks that little shit kid, Alex Rodriguez. No, Alex is from the third movie.
Maxwell Thurgood Mercer.
Maxwell Johann Mercer.
Maxwell took it, and now we have to get it back.
I don't know if that's his name.
And that's how we get on our little collision course with idiocy in this film is that.
But okay.
And it needs to be. I cannot make it clear. I'm sorry. I cannot make it clear enough that Jeff and
Ellie Kemper,
because we don't know her real name,
I legit just
are
think
sweet,
my mom.
are very nice people, and Max, the Kevin in this film, is a little jerk.
A little dick.
He's horrible.
Like, he has everything.
Yeah,
but still wants more.
Because I think we mentioned this earlier. If not, we'll say it again. This is another rich family,
like excruciating,
like the McAllister family in the first film. I think we did talk about this, but they're rich, so obviously they've got more than everybody. They have more than Jeff and Ellie Kemper.
I mean, damn, the whole family's going to Tokyo for Christmas.
Right.
Like,
they have more than Jeff and Ellie Kemper, but Jeff and Ellie Kemper are middle class. They're good citizens.
Yeah.
And not that lower class are not good citizens. You know what I mean? They're like the 1950s. We live in a house
right.
now. Whatever.
Don't know where we're going with that, but okay.
I don't know either, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, they're good people, and then this little kid just comes in and just
let it be known, it was not their original plan to break in and enter. Like, Jeff goes to talk to the mom to get the doll back.
But she's already gone off to Tokyo, as we talked about. And the family is trying to leave, but they're in a hurry. But it doesn't matter anyway because they don't have Maximilian Schell with them. And so that...
But surprise! They left him at home.
So their only recourse is to say, let's just go in the house. We know where the key is, the spare key. Let's go in the house. Let's get the doll, and let's haul ass. Let's get out of there.
Right.
But it doesn't work out that way because the kid's home and blah, blah, blah.
Which, to be honest, the only reason the kid attacks them is because he thinks they're trying to kidnap him.
I don't think we can stress how stupid this movie is.
So basically, the kid overhears Ellie Kemper and Jeff say they're coming to get this ugly kid, and he's going to be worth $200,000.
Let's assess.
They meant the doll, but the kid's stupid and thinks it's him.
I want you to think back to the first, not just first two, but the first 3 Home Alone films, okay? Which, by the way, Home Alone 1 and 2 are the standard. They are fantastic films. There are some people that give crap to the second film because it's basically just repeating the same jokes over and over.
But it is Tim Curry, so shut your face.
I was just about to say.
Your face. It has Tim Curry.
It has Tim Curry.
That's all you need.
They made the smart choice to add Tim Curry in the film.
Madam, there are hundreds of parasites out there, armed to the teeth. Do bundle up. It's awfully cold outside.
And they did some different things in it that are not, obviously it doesn't take place at home. It takes place in the city of New York. It's crazy times, but it's great. It's fun. They got the Plaza Hotel subplot. That's where you get Tim Curry and even Rob Schneider, a very young pompadour sporting Rob Schneider. He's in that.
He's also good.
It's great. And then, oddly enough, and you're going to come after us on this, we like Home Alone 3.
We do. It's a guilty pleasure.
It's a guilty pleasure. It's a fun film. It's cute. You know, it's not hilarious. It's not anywhere near as good as the first two, but I find it to be a solid film.
I still do enjoy sitting and watching it during Christmas. Every year.
I find it to be a good film. It's not great. It's, like I said, it's not as good as the first two, but it's okay. And
it's a 50-50 on
well, I'll tell you, here's the thing. Here's how Home Alone 3 failed. They called them... Yes, even Teebs the cat here is talking about it. Here's how Home Alone 3 failed. They called it Home Alone 3. If they had left that number off, that probably could have been a better film. If they called it Home Alone A New Beginning or Home Alone The Next Generation.
Damn, they couldn't even call it Home Alone Here We Go Again
or something,
with a new kid.
Something that didn't tie it immediately to those first two, because that wasn't Home Alone 3. That's a whole new Home Alone series.
Yeah.
So it's confusing. It's sort of like in the Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, when Will Ferrell's character is like, no, that's not asking the same question twice. That's a first question in a new line of questioning. This is basically what I'm talking about. Here's the clip.
The second question was, do I really have to ask you 2 more times? So that would be the first question in a new line of questioning and wouldn't count in the other line of questioning.
But anyway, so Home Alone 3, I find it to be a surprisingly solid film. The critics hated it. Most of the audience hated it.
I would say most people dislike it, but
it's fine. And you'll note that we're trying to talk about anything other than home fries, potato salad, Home Alone. That's the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, think about those first 3 films.
Which this film makes it easy to do since they reference it like, I don't know, 70 bajillion times with music and floating talking heads and criminals dropping in a pool.
Which is weird that they reference those two things, because that is from the third one. It's like it's a completely different universe. It's not the same. It's not even, I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, so those things happen. But you think about the criminals in the first 3 films. Harry and Marv were bad guys.
They were wet bandits.
They were terrible people. Now, in the first film, you can excuse them stealing from rich people. I mean, don't steal, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, the rich people got their stereo stolen. I'm not going to be that guy. But when they realize that Kevin is in the house, they want to murder him.
Merry Christmas, little fella. We know that you're in there and that you're all alone. We're not gonna hurt you.
No. Got some nice presents for you.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
They did before he does all the horrible things to them. They want to kill him so that there are no witnesses, so that he doesn't know who they are. Or
Which
whatever.
a lot of times you don't realize that because you don't want to think that that's going to happen in a Christmas movie.
But it's actually a very dark plot. They want to kill.
Bite his little fingers off.
But that's after they want. After he does all the things to him. They just want to shoot him in the beginning, and it gets further dark in the second film because Harry actually goes so far as to pull a gun on Kevin.
I never made it to the 6th grade, kid. It doesn't look like you're gonna either.
So I mean, it's dark. Like, these guys want this kid dead. It's like they're not just burglars; they are murderers. They are serial killers.
And then, like, if you think in the first films, they talk about the neighbor being a murderer. So, like, the whole story was very dark.
The first 3 films revolve around murder, and I guess maybe that was Disney's attempt to change that, was to be like, let's not make them like psychotic criminals. Let's just make them everyday people.
But then you don't side with the person you're supposed to side with because you made them everyday people. And if you're people of our age, you really side with those people because we struggle. Like, we would look for this doll that would give us $200,000.
Which leads to my point. Could you imagine being on Harry and Marv's side in the first 2 films?
No.
Or on those 4 criminal panel in the third film? Like, if you felt bad for them and, like, because this little kid
because every time they got hurt, even though they probably would have died from these things, you laugh.
It was
because
funny.
They were bad.
But the whole film is revolved around, okay, these guys, they're going to go in there and get the doll, and then they're just going to go home. They're going to leave the kid alone. Yeah. They want to hurt the kid. Even if the kid sees them, they're not going to hurt him. They're just going to be like, look, we're just here to get the thing and we're going to go.
Yeah.
And so by the time you get to the booby trap scene, you feel horrible for Jeff and Ellie Kemper.
Which, granted to you, the booby traps are not...
they're not as lethal.
They're not as lethal.
The first film.
Really, the only lethal one is probably the pool balls to the head out of like a t-shirt shooter gun. Because that probably would have cracked the skull.
But that's what's
at that force.
And that's what's infuriating is, like, you don't want Jeff to get hit in the head. Like, you stupid little kid, stop picking on these people. They're just trying to take care of their family.
Which, speaking of booby traps, he has a Google HomeBot. Mm-hmm. It's not called Google. It's called HomeBot.
It's like the girl.
He tries to research booby traps, and she goes, "Nope, boobies blocked."
See, that was a laugh moment.
Kind of funny.
That was a laugh moment, but there are so few of those in this film.
And then one other laugh moment that I had, was when he froze the driveway, and they were just like kind of crawling like
and they were
little like
down.
mice, and then all of a sudden you just see Ellie Kemper, like going.
All right, I'm doing this. I'm right behind you, babe. One more step. I got it.
I got you, but he doesn't move.
That was funny.
So those were funny because they were
funny moments.
kids, silly, stupid.
But there's not enough of those moments to excuse this film.
No, definitely.
And that's the bottom line. But yeah, but it was so infuriating because I was like, okay, like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, these must be like the typical cat burglar-esque, and Ellie Kemper is going to play one. No, they're a loving family, and they're just trying to. They're just trying to save their home and save their family and save Christmas for their family. Yeah. And they're getting the Marv and Harry treatment by this little shit kid. It's horrible. Oh God. It's a terrible film. Terrible idea.
And then we get to when they figure out everything of what's going on. The kid realizes they're not trying to steal him. They realize the kid doesn't have the doll. He stole the soda. And they like each other. They find out the kid is alone, so they try to take him home and care for him. They do take him home and care for him.
Oh, you poor thing.
They're like, oh my God, you're alone. Like, we'll call you mom.
Even though you tried to kill us.
Yeah. Like, they take him home. They're beat to shit.
Yeah.
And they take him home, they feed him, and they call his mom.
I don't think, we cannot stress enough how stupid this movie is.
It's so awkward, and then of course it turns out, spoiler alert, even though this whole thing wasn't spoilers because it is, the nephew of Jeff and Ellie Kemper is the one who stole the freaking doll because he's a klepto.
And you see that throughout the film. I called it.
Yeah, he called it like the beginning of the film.
Of the film, like he's not going to have.
He stole an ornament, and Todd was like, "He stole the doll."
He stole the doll. Like it's clear.
Like, he knew.
It's clear.
At the end, he like throws it in the air, and so Ellie Kemper and Jeff are like going batshit crazy trying to catch it, and the kid like slides, and then they're like, "Oh, we love you. You caught the doll. Thank you for risking your life." Blah blah. But he just.
And at the end of the movie, they're all friends. Both families are friends.
Yeah, like they sold the doll, kept their house. Paid for the...
Max Maxwell and his mom are now friends, and dad are now friends with Jeff and Ellie Kemper.
Yes.
So it's so bizarre.
It's so randomly awkward.
It's like that was maybe like one of the new ideas that Disney had, but it failed. It was a stupid idea. So... Stupid plot and stupid criminals. A couple more things I want to talk about before we wrap this up, and we've pretty much talked about the worst things. Was that which? But by the way, it's really sad that this movie was as bad as it was because it was written. One of the writers of the film is Mikey Day from Saturday Night Live, who's very funny on SNL. The way I looked at it, and as the way I'm sure a lot of people looked at it, is this was a studio interference. Mikey Day and the other guy, I don't remember the other screenplay writer, sorry, but they probably wrote a treatise that was probably a little different, probably a little bit more fun, and Disney was like, no,
they got shut down.
We got to stick to status quo because we're afraid to do anything outside the box, which is bizarre because we talked about Jurassic World and Force Awakens, how. Well, they didn't do Jurassic World, but I'm talking about The Force Awakens, how they really did that movie well because they combined the best of old and new, and it was really interesting. And they haven't been able to do it since. They didn't do it very well in The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, and they for damn sure didn't do it well in this film. So it's bizarre that they would take this route and make it as bad as it was.
Well, and I get to the time that the first two were made, the time really even that the third one was kind of made, violence on TV was more acceptable.
It was getting there. I remember as a kid, they started complaining about Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and so I understand that violence is really not.
Well, again, it's not even the violence.
Great,
it's not even the violence. It's the stupid idea. Like again, this is an era. This is an era where nobody's getting left behind, and nobody's not. There's still people that go missing, but if you know where someone is. It's okay. Like, it's going to be okay. You didn't know. So, it's a bizarre choice. But a couple things I want to talk about. That was my leg.
I was like, was that you?
Yeah. couple more things I want to talk about is the stupid remake in the middle of the film. In the middle of the film, Jeff's family is watching the remake of Angels with Filthy Souls.
Yeah.
And that's the movie that's the movie that Kevin watches in the first film. And they've done
one too, though, right?
Well, it was Angels with filthier souls. See, they did do something clever in Home Alone 2. It was he was watching the sequel to the first film, which was Angels with even filthier souls, or something like that. This is the remake of Angels and it takes place in space.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly yellow.
I was gonna say it looked like a zombie.
No, he was some sort of like Darth Vader Emperor type character. And I have the quote right here because Jeff's brother is in for Christmas, and he says,
"I don't know why they were always trying to remake the classics. Never as good as the originals."
So they're very self-aware, and they made the stupid joke. And I was hoping to God they wouldn't do something like this, but they did. They're sitting there watching the remake of Angels with Filthy Souls, and they make the comment about how bad reboots are. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, because they had to have known going into this movie was crap. So why would they do that to their own film?
You literally just told us your own film sucks.
You basically told us that not to watch the film. I mean, at this point, we've already been watching probably a half hour, 45 minutes.
I don't know, I lost count, and I zoned out.
It was a dumb thing, and that leads me into the second point. That's calling back on nostalgia. There's also the cameos in the film, and really it's more cameo, but there are 2 cameos in this film. Now, I understood, and a lot of Home Alone fans understood that Macaulay Culkin was going to make an appearance in this film,
which we basically was going to be our reason for watching it.
That was going to be the reason, and then I think it was like a week or 2 before the movie came out, they said, "Oh no, he's not going to be in this film." But if you look,
good on Mac.
But if you look carefully, they said you do see what they believe is to be a Kevin McAllister cameo, and that is in the front yard of the little shit kid's house.
Little sign.
There's a little sign. It's just a quick pan. It's a quick pan.
I mean, like little. We're talking like.
But it's the size of one of those ADT security signs, and it's just a little pan, and it says McAllister Security System. This house protected by McAllister Security System, which everyone in the fan base believes is supposed to be Kevin's product.
Well, there's no belief in because Buzz says it's his.
Does he?
He does.
When I was a kid, my family went on vacation. We forgot my little brother, Kevin, twice. He called in the 289 to mess with me. The idiot does it every year. Guess what? The place had a McAllister home alarm system. Oh, gee, is that a coincidence? I don't think so.
I missed that. I zoned out.
It is for sure. Like, there's no. Is his.
So spoilers.
System.
Spoilers. Yeah. Buzz is in this movie. Yeah, Buzz, Kevin's older brother, his bully older brother, is now a police officer, and he was called.
Not a good one.
No, and that was another thing that bummed me out because when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be like the. He was going to be like the neighbor in the first film, or the pigeon lady in the second film. Like he was going to be the hero, like the last hero.
No, not the case, guys.
No,
but because bad guy.
Because I was about to say because again there are no criminals in this film to protect Max from. I got it. There's no criminals to protect Max from, so you didn't need that neighbor character or the pigeon lady character or the Mrs. Hess character in the third film.
Yeah.
You were fine. He's fine. So he's an inept cop, and he comes to the Mercer's house.
Oh,
Mercer's house on a call of suspicion because Jeff and Ellie Kemper are there.
They set the alarm off.
They set the alarm off, and they managed to lie there through their teeth, and he falls for it because he's Buzz.
Because Ellie Kemper flirts with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the man."
And then later on, you find out that he's not going to go back to check on that house when they said, "Please go check on the house," because what Miss Pengrino said.
That's his brother.
Because Kevin did all that. So. calling on nostalgia. I do like kind of how they didn't just flat out bring him back. I'm glad that they kind of kept it out. It would have been nice to see him, but he didn't need to do Buzz.
No, I could totally done without that.
This is hard because it's one of those situations where, like, I would have enjoyed seeing, sort of like Force Awakens, seeing the old mixed with the new, which we got a little bit of. But at the same time, it's like, we don't need that for Home Alone. Star Wars, you can keep telling stories. They may not always be great, but you can keep telling stories till you're blue in the face. Home Alone, kid gets left alone. Crooks try to break in. He booby traps the place and they all run away. Got it. You know, you don't have to keep doing it.
We've done it 30 times.
You don't have to keep doing it. And how do these criminals keep falling for this? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But
criminals are stupid.
This movie is stupid. So, Ms. Pengrino, I think I know the answer to this question as we get into this, but would you recommend
No.
Home Sweet Alabama? Is that what it's called? Home Sweet Alabama. That's the name of the film. Would you recommend Home Sweet Alabama?
Sweet Home Alabama, sure, but Home Sweet.
It's got the Reese Witherspoon in
It does. That I do recommend because I like Reese Witherspoon.
That movie, I like her too, but that movie's crap, so I don't recommend that film. So don't go see. So don't check out Home Sweet Alabama or this new Home Alone film. Now, I think we both agree this film is awful. You don't need to. If you've seen the first one, you've seen Home Alone. You don't need to see.
And like legit, it's only 95 minutes, and you're like, nah, I could sit through 95 minutes. No.
I said we couldn't sit through 95 minutes. But it's horrible. It's a disease, as one of Kevin's
I don't even think
brothers
kids
says.
Would like it.
No, it's not. It wouldn't keep your interest. Look, just show your kids the old Home Alone films.
Yeah.
Don't show them this. This is not Home Alone. This is.
Just tell them violence is inappropriate.
This is trash.
Home Sweet Home Alone.
Oh no, a ladder!
You think I'm that stupid?
Yes, I do.
Only on Disney Plus.
Well, Miss Pengrino, that was a bad movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's an understatement.
And I feel kind of iffy because it's Disney. Like, no hate on Disney. I mean, you guys are great, but I feel like I feel a little weird ragging on Disney so bad. I hope they don't.
But they do better things. So
they do, but I just hope they don't come after us or anything.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What?
Did you know this was back here?
What?
This.
No. What is it?
I didn't think we had gifts under the tree yet.
I don't have gifts under the tree.
What's this?
Well, looks like a gift, but I didn't do it.
Huh, let's see here. To Get Real from Disney.
Uh-oh.
Why don't you do the honors, Miss Pengrino?
I have to do it.
Take a look inside.
Oh, no.
What? What is it? What is it? What? Oh my God! It's. Oh. It's a Macaulay Culkin doll. Oh, and there's a note too. Uh-oh.